FlyQuest are making the aggressive angle. Aphromoo, the veteran on FlyQuest, says, give me the ball, give me the priority here. I can make the plays. Nautilus in his hands. It's great looking for kills onto the Zeri Yuumi lane. This also necessitates an aggressive jungler for Jose, though, and they pick mid lane again here for toucouille, securing him the Ahri before their jungle picks, which means TSM could pick jungle champion and level bans at JoseDeodo to ban him out of the aggressive jungle matchups. But TSM are saying, great, you want to run back similar to last game? We will take that deal. Yes, we will take that deal. Nice handshake.
Who's going to press the buttons better? Is it toucouille when he's going for it this time around, or is it Maple on the response in that one fight that kind of set the tone for the latter portion of the game? That's exactly what ended up going down. But I like what you're saying about Aphromoo coming in on the Nautilus. Some of the greatest performances, not just from FlyQuest, but any team that Aphromoo has served on, is when he has that control for the rest of the team.
Yeah, definitely love it when you've got your in-game shot caller like you're talking about, as well as you know, the person on the team most experienced and set up to make the engagements. That is one thing they were definitely missing. We'll see if it changes the bottom lane. Again, that's why I'm so curious about jungle. And TSM do double ban jungle here against Jose. If FlyQuest are able to get a strong jungler here for Jose, a ganking jungler for the bottom lane, and actually play off of this Nautilus, then they can flip the table here. They can change the way this series is going. 3 jungle bans out here in the second half. They don't want to let Spica blind pick the Wukong either. See what he goes with instead.
Both of the teams saving that jungle pick for the latter part of this draft. Some slight changes with the earlier pickup of this Ahri for toucouille and getting that mid lane matchup. We'll have to see how they decide to lock things in from here on out. Spica being such a driving factor for TSM and how he can make some of these plays happen. With Orin banned away again and Solo still wanting to lean into that supportive style, that reserve style that sets up for later, it works out well to put him on the Gnar once again.
Philip's most comfortable champions are Aatrox and Camille, though. Let's see if they actually lock this Camille. This would put FlyQuest in a very, very aggressive stance for their early lane phases. Bottom lane, Nautilus has to look for kills. Camille also into Gnar, especially once you get to your level 6 with your Hextech Ultimatum. You can for sure set up ganks for Jose. No, oh my goodness, they pick a Trundle? Oh, well, it's not the best of ganking junglers, but it does have its own setup in the Nautilus and Camille. So honestly, maybe it doesn't have to be the best setup ganking jungler. The Trundle, though, is going to have to provide the damage in some of these for the Camille Gnar matchup and for the Nautilus into Yuumi matchup. If they don't get kills, then they are going to fall behind. They are going to lose out again in this game. FlyQuest, let's see if these are the changes necessary. They are more proactive changes for sure. The Camille more aggressive than the Sejuani, the Nautilus as well here for the bottom lane.
But even on the other side, some proactivity as well and some setup. The J4 coming in as the last pick here for Spica.
Yeah, I mean, TSM, I think they feel super confident. They're like, great, you're going to give us everything we wanted. We'll run back again. Yeah, the one change, you know, to jungle here, Cataclysm works amazingly well with Gnar Ultimate. You create more terrain for Solo to have big Mega Gnar moments with and smash people against the walls. But I'm very curious to see how this Trundle actually works out. Can JoseDeodo, you know, channel Santorin?
Make this comp work for FlyQuest. Facing off in game number 2 against TSM. TSM feeling that they had to make very minor changes in what they're bringing here, but they are up in the series and Spica's ready to defy expectations.
I mean, I think most people just perceive us like, you know, we might just lose first round and then just, you know, just bump out. I think we definitely have a decent chance. Now, I want to say making it super far, but I think we were going to put up a fight, and we still got a lot to learn. We have new players on the team, and hopefully just try to exceed expectation, I would say.
Oh, they're putting up a fight, all right. They put up the fight, and now it's time for FlyQuest to respond, because this is an elimination matchup. Lower bracket here for the playoffs. And TSM, they are no strangers to making lower bracket runs.
That is the truth, and they're starting it off with another team that was very similar in the standings of the regular season, seed 6 and 7 coming into it. And I think TSM was really one of the hardest teams to put a thumb on where our expectations lie. Because on the one hand, all of the players, when you hear them talk and things like TSM Legends, they're very aware of the difficulties and when you make these roster changes, the disadvantages when going against others that have been around for a split and a half. But that also, in some ways, leaves the most room for growth when you have 2 weeks to prepare, when you have already defied expectations to some degree with a fairly strong finishing for themselves in the last games of the regular season, and now have the opportunity to build upon it.
Smart ward here from FlyQuest here does see Spica notorious, especially on Jarvan. Jarvan, one of the champions that loves level 2 ganks the most in all of League of Legends. And so Spica warded against properly. Smart stuff there by FlyQuest. The ward I'm referencing, by the way, is that one up behind the red buff here that they placed on their invade. They had their sweeper, they walked up, they pushed Spica away, got that ward down. So saw him go for the fairly typical for solo queue, Jarvan level 2 red buff gank. Now, I hate the term cheese because it is very, very much a reliable strategy actually on Jarvan. And going for those unexpected timers for people that are less accustomed to the early aggressiveness is definitely a intelligent strategy rather than cheese, but properly countered there by FlyQuest. And so it does mean the Trundle is going to be ahead on clear here, and Jarvan trying to catch up.
If you're somebody that loves cheese, though, like myself, that just means it's a good play, a very loved one.
Some heated up brie on some yummy toasted French bread.
Give me that!
Delicious, delicious level 2 red buff ganks. Bottom lane is going to be the next next path here, though, as they split the scuttle crabs. And so Trundle's been able to finish up 2 camps ahead, basically, here of the Jarvan because of the extra time spent looking and fishing for the mid lane play. And now Jose looking to try and make his presence felt on top side. Pillar
got some heavy chunks onto Solo, frozen domain under, and a hop away from Solo to get under his turret.
Yeah. So the pillar placement is pretty difficult. But if he had done that one a little bit closer towards Solo right after he goes for the hop, then you can force the flash. So that's what I'm talking about in Champ Select. We're like, oh man, is this going to be Santorin, Trundle King? Perfect pillars, where you actually get the ones like pinning people against walls or instantly reacting to and interrupting hops and stuff like that. This one does not find it on Solo, and so he just hops his way out. And he even wastes some more time there from Jose, places down the ward, finds Jose in the recall. He actually cancels the recall. And this has allowed Spica to fully catch back up on the Jarvan. So both junglers' attempts at ganks, fruitless.
Just now reaching level 4 up there and down in bot exhaust used onto Johnsun. This is kind of what happens when you have Aphromoo on the Nautilus, when you get that dredge line onto someone. Even if you can't follow up for the complete kill, maybe you get some of those summoners. And in this case, 3 have been taken down for TSM's bot lane.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I already emphasize in Champ Select. You have to play this aggressive. You have to make plays. You have to get more than summoner spells, though. You need to get kills with the Nautilus pick into the Yuumi lanes. Otherwise, the Yuumi hard outscales you. There's plenty of engage elsewhere on the rest of the TSM comp. So if you allow the Zeri Yuumi to scale up for later without, getting any extra kills down here, punishing these burn summoner spells, then FlyQuest are going to be in for another round of pain. Like you said, though, it's a pretty good pace there for Aphromoo. Just by himself has been working off most of the defensive cooldowns. There's only the flash left on Zeri. That means it's about time to call down jungler, especially if they can get them pushed up in lane, make a big Nautilus play with Sivir having flash to follow and Nautilus having flash as well. Very well could convert and get FlyQuest off to a different story this time around. Meanwhile, though, Spica controlling the most important point on the map in the early game. That is this river right here. River, bottom lane to mid lane is the most important area in the map for the early game, especially when you have mid laners like this. Ahri and Lissandra, both now level 6, looking for roams, looking to set up on their team, or can easily turn them those abilities towards their opponents for the jungle mid 2v2. Sweeper coming down over the dragon as well. And TSM already getting, again, vision control first for the setup.
We saw how early TSM in Game 1 decided to go for it as well, and right now the answer from Maple too.
3v3 in mid.
Yeah, you know, the rest of FlyQuest here. Good charm into the rest. It's not enough. Has the ultimate, the hook in onto Spica, who can just zoom right on away because he's Jarvan. But you got the ultimate out of Maple. You got the flash.
Exactly, and you got the health bars. Chunking down on the health bars, forcing them off of the map, basically secures FlyQuest the objective. So they hit that charm. That charm was a big difference maker there as toucouille went in, hits the charm onto Maple, forces the defensive Lissandra ultimate into the defensive flash out. And FlyQuest, they do get the first objective, though no gold secured for themselves, no first blood. So TSM, they're just going to wait on the next round of cooldowns there for Maple to look for their follow-up play. Top lane is still going well again for TSM. Solo up here on the Gnar, trying to push his wave up into the turret. This time around, though, Philip doing significantly better for himself, staying very, very even in CS here on the Camille.
And I mean, that is one of the things that when you're getting into playoffs and if a first game doesn't go well, a lot of times bringing out that picks on which the players are extremely comfortable, Camille being one of those for Philip. So if he can handle himself in this lane, get in that position, then can perhaps have more of an impact later on, especially when it comes to affecting these side lanes.
Meanwhile, that bottom lane, that Zeri pick is again giving returns to TSM. Instinct 10 CS up in the bottom lane, despite Aphromoo landing a lot of hooks and them going aggressive for trades and trying to burn through summoner spells. Remember, like if they don't capitalize on those burn summoner spells in kills, then they're actually just going to be down CS from the trading and losing out in a bit of the money. So FlyQuest will be happy to have the first dragon this time around. They won't get that early Dragon Soul stacking against them. And they're the team, again, with the more aggressive look this time around. See about this wraparound gank from Spica, because there is a ward up here in the middle bush. So Philip has his defenses in place. Should not fall prey to this. His wave is pushing away from him, though. And there is Gnar. If he doesn't respect this Gnar, is the only way he could actually turn back around against him. He does have flash.
Yep.
Into the wall. Okay.
Slamming on to a moment, but
oh, the
TSM,
patience!
Yeah, maybe trying to figure out exactly where the enemy jungler is. Cataclysm directly onto Philip's head. Answer with the Hex Tech ultimatum. Can he get enough hits onto Spica? But it isn't. That's first blood for TSM. 2 games in a row.
Beautiful patience there from Spica. He gets it, but can he live? He's got no mana.
The pillar to knock back. Spica can't go anywhere. They answer with a kill.
FlyQuest will get the return kill, and they're going to get the Herald.
Well, that was one way to make sure you turn that first blood into an advantage for yourself, taking now their second major objective in this first Rift Herald. Solo somewhat targeted, a wave coming through, frozen domain, slammed down. Solo knows that he's in a dangerous spot, can't do nothing about it. The FlyQuest pick up 2.
FlyQuest turning the series back around, saying they're not done here after game number 1. Really, really big roam up from the rest of the FlyQuest members because they had also recalled their bottom lane again to go for the early Rift Herald. Not only do they get the early Rift Herald, but they also were able to follow up on that first blood play, get the counter kill onto Spica, save themselves so much money. So again, if we're looking at the minimap right now, it is Trundle on the Rift Herald while the rest of FlyQuest are moving up. So TSM know they've got to pull this gank off fast. They're looking at the mini-map and they're like, everybody's coming up the top lane. They flash here to finish off the kill. But even in doing so, are going to give back the counter kill as well as the extra money for Rift Herald. So this time around, FlyQuest with early Dragon, with the Rift Herald, with the first blood money. 2 of the kills, by the way, onto toucouille on this Ahri, ready to be the playmaker this time.
And with all of that, gold even between FlyQuest and TSM.
I would say it's actually even a better situation for FlyQuest that Jose got off of the Rift Herald and went for to pick up the counter kill, because then they actually gave the Rift Herald over to Johnsun. And when the AD carry has it in inventory, you can just use it yourself at turret plates to ensure that you get all of the money. And that is exactly what FlyQuest want. They want Johnsun with all of the money, feed the Sivir as much as possible. It's the same plan as last game, except they're in a way better situation to be able to pull it off. Meanwhile, TSM, their hopes are not dashed against the wall. It's actually just still pretty fine for them. Going to be more difficult to pull off, of course. but their Yuumi and their Zeri are still scaling, and they still have the Lissandra Gnar frontline playmakers ready for when they want to actually charge down on FlyQuest. It's all about, though, 4 stacks on this Darksteel. toucouille bringing Jose over and looking for the dive. Now, Maple can self-ult, so...
Oh yeah, see if he ends up going for it or if he just wants to reserve his resources. Right now, still hovering, multiple on the top side, which means Johnsun is vulnerable. Targeted again, rooted by Yuumi. One more slash does it from Spica. They clear out this mid lane.
Yuumi ult here makes all the difference, and the heals and speed onto Spica. TSM surgically remove that Sivir, that win condition for FlyQuest. Nice little gank from them. They also denied a bit of minions at the tower, so you get the gold off of killing Sivir. You stop the Sivir farming for a little bit. Nice little jab here from TSM to fight their way back into it as FlyQuest had been building.
Taking that Sivir out mid also means that FlyQuest have less agency to remain in other portions of the map.
And here's a look at it. FlyQuest, they show everybody looking for a gank and a tower dive onto a Lissandra. Maple, very clearly holding onto his ultimate, daring them to go for the dive. Meanwhile, Johnsun has no such ultimate. Just the very last little edge of that Yuumi ult, clipping him too after the spell shield. So he actually did get rooted, did go down. FlyQuest, though, back on track, get Dragon number 2 for themselves, despite the kill onto Sivir for TSM towards that mid lane, and the gold going back their way with Maple free pushing on top side and getting 2 turret plates for himself. FlyQuest do continue stacking the dragons.
A little bit of reprieve for them in that regard, and that Rift Herald that had been held onto by Johnsun now upon his return to the bot lane does get some additional plate hits, this time with some more support from the rest of the team as well.
It's actually kind of funny to see too, because he's staying around to stay in range of it, because AD carries are so not used to having the Rift Herald themselves, but as long as you're the one to activate the Rift Herald, you can literally go all the way back to your fountain and you'll still get credit for the Rift Herald turret plates that it charges down. So still guaranteed that money, and him with his Kraken Slayer already, again, is what FlyQuest are playing for. 700 gold lead, not very much here for TSM, considering the 2 dragons that are stacking for FlyQuest, but it's about, can FlyQuest keep up this pace? Again, they've got Aphromoo this time around on the Nautilus. Their in-game shot caller, their veteran of all 10 years of the LCS. He's played in every single one, and he's going to be the one with the most important single click, the Nautilus ultimate onto the Zeri, ensuring that they can have a better chance at taking that champ down late game.
And upon this back, the mythics for everyone, aside from the supports, have been hit, so good spikes across. Philip picking up that Divine Sunder before going towards the spot lane, matching Solo as we have seen throughout this game.
All right, Rift Herald number 2 about to arrive to the Rift, and FlyQuest keeping up the vision, take the scuttle grab, and will suss out the mid lane surprise.
Sweeping on through, making sure that they execute some patience and group together when moving through the darkened parts of this map here, but we've seen a lot of fast rotations towards the major objectives whenever they are up, and FlyQuest ensuring an opportunity to try to set up some of the vision. TSM now allowing themselves to do the same.
Just a little vision checking and setting up for that second Rift Herald here. Deeper wards set by TSM as Jose clears one of them out, trying to set themselves up for a good team fight. They do have position here for 4 members, both top laners, currently bottom, but Philip has teleport advantage. So TSM need to watch out. Solo just has to keep in range of Philip as he turns towards Mega.
Yeah, Philip has been down here with Solo for some time. There's the Mega, ends up missing a bit, and Aphromoo is here to protect Philip if necessary.
That means they have to pull off the Rift Herald then. FlyQuest had started the Rift Herald. If they sent Aphromoo down to protect Philip, that means they're in the 3v4 on top side, and they want the kill onto Solo instead of the Rift Herald here. Aphromoo still hanging around.
Oh, that'd be so difficult for them to execute, though. You can see that control in that back bush for Solo, too, and he's making sure that he is playing very patiently and not pushing against them.
That is really good game sense there from Solo to say, okay, Aphromoo is hanging around here. He's the type of player to look for the kill, the pick onto me, rather than the Rift Herald for the rest of the team. So he backs off. Solo avoids the disaster there of the Nautilus ult coming in. And now TSM.
That gives TSM the read. They're here first, going to try to get this lock onto Johnsun. The ult is good, and the exhaust here to follow. Solo teleporting in. It came up recently. Instinct with the kill onto Johnsun. FlyQuest, Philip having to flash away. toucouille's coming from the outskirts, looking for an additional angle, and then Maple popping his ultimate as well. Even in the center of the headset, ultimatum is not enough right now. There's still one down for FlyQuest. TSM going for a Spica, still alive. He's got the cat on his back for a little bit of additional healing. So he can stay in it that much more.
Oh my gosh, TSM, they actually get Maple out of there. Spica, Sergeant Spica going in to save Maple, trying to buy him some time, get the knock up so he can get out. Goes in with the EQ Gore Drinker, has to flash away and hide behind the rest of the team as they escort each other out. TSM will leave no man behind. That is for sure. What a team fight. Let's take another look at it. Again, we have waited so long here that the Unleashed teleport for Gnar has been able to match that of FlyQuest. So double teleports start to come in, and Spica goes for the engage onto Johnsun. They get the engage plus the exhaust on him, and they immediately delete the AD carry again. TSM have been so good at killing off the Sivir, but then with Maple left up here, he is all alone. Even though he has his self-ult and his flash, he gets pillared away from the wall. And that pillar ensures that he can't flash out, so Spica has to go in. He EQ Gore Drinkers to heal up and then flashes away himself. Now we're back into live, another dragon fight.
The trust building within the members of TSM paying off, and it'll be tested once again in this fight here. FlyQuest looking for the angle. Solo, the first one onto that hook, and gets immediately popped. Now Spica, the subject of the Hextech ultimatum. Some damage being dished out by Instinct, but Philip gets the kill credit. FlyQuest continue on the pursuit. Instinct is the biggest threat that TSM has. Can't quite connect with the charm, but FlyQuest still had a lot that they were able to pull from that. They create the distance to be able to secure the dragon and are now on soul point.
Yeah, the more important team fight. FlyQuest win the one that matters. They win the one with actual rewards here. Dragon number 3 picked up 18 minutes. Again, it's going to be another really early Dragon Soul. Looking like that 23-minuter. And since TSM actually didn't even get the Rift Herald after the last play, as we take a look at our Rocket Flip the Switch replay here, FlyQuest, they get back out for round number 2 of these team fights. And Aphromoo says, blow this mini Gnar up. Mega doesn't even come out. Within the knockup, Solo dies there. He was so close to transforming. But FlyQuest, surgical precision there. They annihilate him. And after the Gnar has been taken down, there's no hope for the TSM team fight. That comes out of the playmaker, the difference maker that we looked at for FlyQuest, the one we were looking to try and turn this series around for them. LeTigress, it was Aphromoo.
Yeah. And in the previous fight, that same hook did not hit, and it went against FlyQuest. This time, he gets the connection, and the follow-up from FlyQuest is good. Gold, not pulling too much in one direction, but Kobe, it feels like with the Dragon stacking and then making sure to grab some Rift Heralds as well, FlyQuest are the ones controlling the map.
Yeah, Dragon individual buffs are actually a significant advantage nowadays since they were all increased by 50% on the patch a while ago after durability patch, the one that's supposed to encourage this fighting. So 3 dragons is about a 3-ish thousand gold lead if you were to convert them all into gold values. So FlyQuest sitting with a pretty sizable advantage, though. Of course, still the big bonus is on the Dragon Soul and actually getting that. And with the fight coming up in just 3 minutes and both teams showing they can win these team fights, this one's coming down to execution. 23 minutes into the game, execution in the critical Dragon Soul team fight will be what everyone is looking at. And the biggest things leading up to those are the summoner spells. There's no flash on Zeri this time around because he flashed out of the last attempt.
Crucial summoners that won't be there next time.
Oh, it disappeared? Eyeball into the ground.
Bye-bye, eyeball. So, hey, but you denied.
Yeah, it's always so funny when the eyeball actually not picked up.
Yeah.
But it's actually about 50-50 now as far as the rewards, since you do get 200 more gold just on killing it. I don't know how many times I've said that since that patch came out, but it's such a big change worth hammering home. That
a high value camp. You still get something.
It changed so much. Yeah.
Up right here at the top, though. Solo the subject of some violence again. FlyQuest slaying him with the JoseDeodo and Philip combo.
FlyQuest laying the beat down on Solo here. They've decided this Gnar is very, very killable. And they get him again. Nice pick off there is going to lead to some split pushing. TSM, they push on top side. They get that top turret. But FlyQuest pushing back as well.
And around the mid lane, so imperative for them. Instinct trying to free fire Spica into the back. Cataclysm flashes out of his own Cataclysm as the double teleports come through for FlyQuest. The burn down onto Instinct. Chime very vulnerable at the slice for the double kill for Johnsun. And FlyQuest, they are feeling much more informed.
Is Maple gonna find him? He's recalling here. Maple creeping around. Not gonna find him. Too much distance there. Maple does not get the flank off. Again, it's just the kill is too quick here. FlyQuest deleting Instinct and Chime.
Fly know where he's coming from. Maple going in, gets the W lockdown, the follow-up again, the charm and the burst. toucouille, he is starting to get strong, and you cannot forget about the threat that he poses.
The adjustments from FlyQuest this game in this series, more engage and more damage. Really, really showing up. Those have been the critical factors here. These picks, they've actually been able to follow up and have enough damage to delete them before TSM can actually save their members, and huge stuff here. Philip on the Camille, a lot more damage follow-up as well with this Q burst, and Aphromoo making the difference on these engages. toucouille though, that's the real star here. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. The death cap completed as well.
Just pick that up.
So much better than the first instance in this Ahri versus Lissandra matchup here. He's been roaming around, creating plays for the team. He still has his stopwatch as well. So definitely eyeballs here on this Ahri.
toucouille has been extremely consistent for FlyQuest, even in their losses, even when you look at series like that against TL. Making sure to farm up and get strong for the later portions of the game. Philip throwing down some wards, catches out Solo, who was looking for the angle. Going over the wall, Solo looks for toucouille. Spica gets barely burned down by Johnsun on the Sivir, but an easy opportunity to disengage. Solo flashing away here.
TSM,
Dragons up.
Front line got chunked out pretty heavily here. They do have the Yuumi healing them up, so if Yuumi can go throw next heal onto Spica.
One charm onto Maple, follow up with the orb. Spica isolated by Philip for a moment's time, cannot quite connect with these dredge.
There's no Ahri ult, so there is a chance for TSM. Dragon
circling into the pit. Yeah, Dragon, it's already being chunked down, and Spica's in the vicinity. Philip targeting Solo again. Maple in the center of it all. He's healing up in the ultimate. He hits that watch. JoseDeodo, he's circling over onto the Dragon. Dio gets it. All right, it's the Trundle putting in that work, and they burn the rest of TSM down. All in the meantime, House of the Dragon Soul for FlyQuest on this one.
And it will be Baron as well. FlyQuest completely flipped the script on TSM. It's almost the complete reverse of game number 1. They got the early Dragon Soul. They'll get the Baron. And look for the end on the massive lead. FlyQuest strike back at TSM exactly as prominent as game number 1. What a series, right back and forth.
You can see how those adaptations in draft have paid off for FlyQuest with the tools at their disposal in these fights. Philip looking very comfortable and making sure to isolate targets as well.
Yeah, let's take another look at it, because they have to operate this one without having the toucouille ulti. And so when Philip goes in there, they got the combo and they force the mini Gnar out. Maple is isolated, he can buy time, but there's no damage coming through. They're not actually getting instinct autoing anybody during this time, and since there's no more frontline, FlyQuest just rip them apart. After they get the Infernal, they're on 38 health left on the Dragon as well. As Spica tried to smite while he was running away, tried to salvage something from the scenario. FlyQuest will take everything.
You can see how reliable toucouille can be when he's got that death cap, when he's got everything that he's been working towards all game in the fights. Doing a lot more than, as you're saying, yeah, Maple buys that time, but you ain't doing anything during that time to be able to set up some of the finishers onto FlyQuest who have been able to survive through and through.
Yeah, big stuff here. You love to see, too, when you just run back a pick. You know, it was the biggest loss of game number 1. Let's take another look at this attempt.
Oh, JoseDeodo knocked up over the wall. The Zeri damage is pretty good. Solo, though. Oh, look at the burst. Look at the follow-up. Look at FlyQuest with the purple in tow. They're able to get it all. They're able to get the ace here for FlyQuest. Feeling good about it in this game.
Yes, they are. FlyQuest answer back emphatically. Aphromoo leading the charge on the Nautilus, but toucouille making the difference.
A shorter game than the first, a similar fashion, but falling to the FlyQuest side to tie up the series.
toucouille never died in the game. 10 stacks on his Dark Seal at the end. Huge picks for FlyQuest this time around. Aphromoo made the necessary change, changing support over to an engaged support rather than the enchanter. Recognizing the plays are what matter for the team, not the enchanter later on. And FlyQuest even it up. They strike back in this series. 1-1 versus TSM.
And that is why so many had difficulty in figuring out how this series would go, because you look at game number 1, you look at game number 2, a good performance from either team, just very differing results. And I think it is so important to see Aphromoo on that engage. When it came to coming into 12.15, looking at the direction things are going to go, you're saying who can benefit most from these engaged champions coming back into the fold, giving reason to go away from the enchanters. And I think of all the supports out there, Aphromoo has to be topping that list.
Yeah, I still think enchanters are incredibly powerful, but the picks are exactly what FlyQuest needed to actually not let TSM complete the exact same game plan as game number 1, and they actually made use of them early on.
Now, Aphromoo and the rest of the squad have to be feeling good about that one, because FlyQuest do end up striking back to even up the series. Now it's time for us to head over to the State Farm analyst desk.